All right, let's get this show on the road. Captain, if you could just stand a little to your left, and Commander, adjust your position slightly forward.
Wayne took off his hat, the costume piece that signaled his character. He removed his gun belt. He started walking toward his trailer. Ford, surprised by Wayne's unusual behavior, called out, "Where are you going?" "We're not done with the scene." Wayne stopped and turned around. His voice was calm but carried across the entire set. "Yes, we are done. I'm done. With this scene. With this film. With you." The set went completely silent. This was unprecedented. John Wayne didn't walk off John Ford's sets. Their relationship was Hollywood legend. This was unthinkable. The public confrontation. Ford, shocked and angry, walked toward Wayne. "You're walking out on me? After everything I've done for you? Everything you've done for me?" Wayne's voice remained steady, but there was steel in it. "Pappy, you gave me my career. I'll always be grateful for that. But you've also spent 35 years humiliating me, belittling me, treating me like garbage in front of crews, and calling it making me better. That's how I teach. That's how you abuse people," Wayne interrupted. "And I'm done being abused. I'm 57 years old. I just had cancer surgery. I've made over 150 films. I've won an Academy Award. And I don't need to be told I'm stupid by you or anyone else." Ford's face flushed red. "You're being oversensitive. You know I don't mean." "You mean every word," Wayne said. "You always have. And maybe when I was 21 and you were making me a star, I needed to take it. But I'm not 21 anymore. I'm a grown man who deserves basic respect. And if you can't give me that, then we're done." The crew's reaction. The crew watched this confrontation with a mixture of horror and fascination. Many of them had suffered under Ford's cruelty over the years. They'd watched Wayne take abuse that would have driven other actors away long ago. Part of them cheered Wayne's stand. But they also understood the magnitude of what was happening. This wasn't just an actor walking off a set. This was the end of one of cinema's greatest collaborations. This was a son leaving his father. This was history breaking apart in front of them. Some crew members quietly hoped Wayne would stay. The film needed him. Ford needed him. Hollywood needed their partnership. Others quietly hoped Wayne would follow through. Maybe if John Wayne, the ultimate tough guy, could stand up to John Ford's abuse, it would change how directors treated actors. Maybe this could be a turning point for the industry. Ford's attempt to control. Ford tried to reassert his authority. "You have a contract, Duke. You can't just walk away. Watch me. Sue me if you want. I'll pay whatever penalty the contract requires. But I'm not doing another scene for you. Not on this film. Not ever. You're throwing away our friendship over." "No," Wayne said firmly. "You threw away our friendship by treating me like this. I've made excuses for your behavior for 35 years. I've told myself you were tough because you cared. But I just realized something. Caring doesn't look like this. This is just cruelty. And I don't have to accept it anymore." Ford's expression changed. The anger was still there, but underneath it was something else, fear. Fear of losing the actor who'd been his greatest collaborator. Fear that Wayne meant what he was saying. Fear that he'd finally pushed too far. "Duke, don't do this. We can work this out." "No, we can't. Because you can't change. You've been directing for 40 years this way. You think this is who you are. And maybe it is. But I don't have to be the person you take it out on anymore." Wayne turned and walked to his trailer, leaving Ford standing in the middle of the set. The walk away. Wayne packed his personal items from his trailer. He changed out of his costume and into his street clothes. The assistant director knocked on the door. "Mr. Wayne, Mr. Ford would like to speak with you privately." "There's nothing left to say. I meant what I said. I'm done." "But the film? You'll figure it out. You can recast my scenes. You can write my character out. I don't care. I'm leaving." Wayne walked past the crew, past Ford, who was still standing in shock on the set, got in his car, and drove away. He didn't look back. After 35 years and 14 films together, John Wayne left John Ford forever. Ford's breakdown. Once Wayne's car disappeared down the desert road, Ford stood there for a long moment. The crew waited for an explosion, Ford's legendary temper, screaming, throwing things. But instead, something none of them had ever seen happened. John Ford, the toughest director in Hollywood, the man who'd terrorized actors for 4 decades, the director who never showed weakness, started to cry. Not quiet tears, full, sobbing breakdown. His whole body shook. He tried to hide his face, but everyone saw. The man who'd shown no mercy to others for his entire career was now completely undone. His assistant director approached cautiously. "Mr. Ford, should we send everyone home?" Ford managed to say through his tears. "We're done for today." As the crew dispersed, many of them shaken by what they'd witnessed, Ford sat down in Wayne's empty chair and continued to cry. He'd pushed too hard. He'd finally broken the bond that had meant more to him than any film he'd ever made. The aftermath. Wayne was recast in Cheyenne Autumn. The film was completed without him. It was not a success. Critics and audiences both found it disappointing. Many blamed Ford's declining health and the disruption of losing his star mid-production. Ford tried to reach out to Wayne several times in the weeks after the walkout. Phone calls that Wayne wouldn't take. Letters that Wayne didn't answer. Messages sent through mutual friends that Wayne politely but firmly declined. "It's not about punishing him," Wayne told a close friend. "It's about protecting myself. Every time I've forgiven Ford before, he just does it again. I can't keep putting myself through that." The impact on Ford. Ford's breakdown on set became one of Hollywood's worst-kept secrets. Everyone knew that John Wayne had finally had enough of Ford's abuse, and Ford had fallen apart when faced with the consequences of his behavior. Ford's health continued to decline. He made only 2 more films after Cheyenne Autumn, both troubled productions. Many people in Hollywood believed that losing Wayne, losing that relationship, had broken something in Ford that never healed. Ford would occasionally talk about Wayne to friends, always with regret. "I pushed him too hard," Ford admitted to director Peter Bogdanovich. "I thought he'd always be there, no matter how I treated him. I was wrong." The industry's reaction. 1964. The Arizona desert. John Wayne walked off the set of Cheyenne Autumn mid-scene, removed his costume, and told the assistant director, "Tell Ford I'm done. Not just with this film. I'm done working with him forever." For anyone who understood Hollywood, this was shocking. John Ford and John Wayne weren't just director and actor. They were father and son in every way except biology. Ford had discovered Wayne, made him a star, directed him in some of the greatest westerns ever made. Their 35-year collaboration had created cinema history. But now Wayne was walking away. The crew stood frozen, unsure what to do. Ford was already difficult to work with, but losing John Wayne, his favorite actor, his surrogate son, would devastate him. When Ford learned Wayne had left, he did something no one had ever seen. John Ford, the toughest director in Hollywood, the man who never showed weakness, broke down and cried. What had pushed these 2 titans to this breaking point? And what happened in the days that followed would reveal the complicated truth about mentors and protégés, about abuse disguised as toughness, and about the moment when even loyalty has to have limits. Before we explore this heartbreaking rupture between 2 Hollywood legends, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This isn't just about 2 famous men. It's about toxic relationships disguised as mentorship, knowing when to walk away even from people you love, and whether some bonds can survive being broken. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, and let's begin. The father-son bond. John Ford discovered John Wayne in 1928 when Wayne was a 21-year-old prop man named Marion Morrison working at Fox Studios. Ford saw something in the young man, a natural presence, an authenticity that cameras loved. Ford started giving Wayne small roles, teaching him about acting, about cinema, about life. In 1939, Ford cast Wayne in the lead role of Stagecoach, the film that would make Wayne a star. Over the next 25 years, they made 14 films together, including classics like The Searchers, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Their relationship was intense and complicated. Ford had a reputation as one of Hollywood's most difficult directors, brilliant but cruel, demanding perfection while using humiliation as his teaching method. He was particularly hard on actors he cared about, believing that toughness created better performances. Wayne bore the brunt of Ford's abuse for decades. Ford would mock him in front of the crew, call him dumb, publicly question his intelligence and talent. In one famous incident, Ford made Wayne repeat a simple scene 48 times for no apparent reason except to humiliate him. Wayne endured this because he loved Ford like a father and believed Ford's cruelty came from a desire to make him better. "Pappy pushes me because he knows what I'm capable of," Wayne would say, using Ford's nickname. It's tough love. But by 1964, after 35 years of this dynamic, something had changed in Wayne. The breaking point building. Several factors had been building toward a confrontation between Ford and Wayne. Age and confidence ***. Wayne was now 57 years old. a major star who didn't need Ford's approval anymore. He'd won an Academy Award for True Grit and was one of Hollywood's most bankable actors. He had perspective now that younger Wayne didn't have. Ford's declining health ***. Ford was 70 and in poor health. His eyesight was failing, he was in constant pain from various ailments, and his already difficult personality had become even more volatile and cruel as his physical condition deteriorated. Changing times. The 1960s were challenging old Hollywood's ways of doing things. The studio system was collapsing. Younger directors and actors were pushing back against abusive working conditions. The idea that cruelty was necessary for art was being questioned. Wayne's own health scare ***. In 1964, Wayne had been diagnosed with lung cancer. He'd had surgery to remove part of his lung. Facing his own mortality had changed his perspective on what mattered and what he was willing to tolerate. The pattern of abuse. Ford's treatment of actors, especially Wayne, had always been brutal, but on Cheyenne Autumn, it reached new levels. Ford was in constant pain from his deteriorating health, and he took it out on everyone around him, but especially on Wayne. Ford would mock Wayne's acting in front of the entire crew, make him repeat scenes endlessly for no clear reason, question his intelligence and capability, compare him unfavorably to other actors, use personal insults that went beyond professional critique. The crew was uncomfortable watching this. Many of them had worked with Ford and Wayne for years and recognized that this was worse than Ford's usual difficult behavior. This felt personal, cruel, and unnecessary. Wayne's friends noticed he was increasingly unhappy. He'd come back to his trailer after particularly brutal days looking exhausted. Not physically, but emotionally. "I'm too old for this," he told his friend and stuntman Chuck Roberson. "I don't need to take this treatment anymore." The final day. The breaking point came during a relatively simple scene. Wayne was supposed to deliver a short speech about the treatment of Native Americans. Ironically, given what was about to happen, a scene about dignity and respect. Wayne delivered the lines. They seemed fine to everyone watching. But Ford called cut and said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "That was terrible, Duke. You sounded like a dumb cowboy reading words you don't understand. Try using your brain this time." Wayne took a breath and did the scene again. "Cut. Worse. You're not thinking. You're just saying words. What's wrong with you today?" Third take. "Cut. Are you drunk? Because you're performing like you're drunk." Wayne wasn't drunk. He was tired, recovering from cancer surgery, and increasingly fed up with being treated like an incompetent rookie rather than one of the biggest stars in Hollywood with 35 years of experience. Fourth take. "Cut. Why did I ever think you could act? You're a physical presence, Duke, nothing more. Don't try to actually perform, just stand there and look like John Wayne." The moment Wayne decided. Something snapped in Wayne during that fourth take. He'd endured decades of Ford's abuse. He'd told himself it was all for the good of the film, that Ford's cruelty came from caring, that this was just how their relationship worked. But standing there in the Arizona heat, recovering from cancer, being called stupid and incompetent in front of 100 crew members, Wayne realized something. He didn't have to take this anymore. He'd earned the right to be treated with basic respect. And if Ford couldn't give him that, then their relationship had to end. Wayne's walkout sparked conversations in Hollywood about directors' treatment of actors. If John Wayne, who'd endured Ford's abuse longer than almost anyone, finally said enough, maybe other actors didn't have to accept cruel treatment either. Younger directors started pushing back against the idea that abuse was necessary for great art. The generation that came of age in the 1960s and 70s generally treated actors with more respect than Ford's generation had. Wayne himself became an advocate for respectful working conditions. On sets he controlled as a producer or director, he insisted on professional courtesy for everyone. "There's no reason to humiliate people," he'd tell directors who worked for him. "You can demand excellence without being cruel." The attempted reconciliation. 3 years later, in 1967, mutual friends tried to broker a reconciliation. Ford's health was failing rapidly. He'd had a stroke and knew he didn't have much time left. He wanted to make peace with Wayne before he died. A meeting was arranged at Ford's home. Wayne came, but he made clear this was a courtesy visit, not a reunion. Ford, now frail and in a wheelchair, said to Wayne, "I'm sorry, Duke. For all of it. For every time I humiliated you, every cruel thing I said. I told myself it was for the work, but it was just me being a bully. You deserved better. Wayne was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I appreciate the apology, Pappy. I really do. But I can't forget how many years you made me feel worthless. How many times I went home after working with you feeling small and stupid. I loved you like a father, and you treated me like that anyway. I know. I have no excuse. The work we did together was great. I'll always be proud of those films. But I can't work with you again. I can't put myself back in that situation." Ford nodded, tears in his eyes again. "I understand. Can we at least not be enemies?" Wayne softened slightly. "We're not enemies, Pappy. We're just done working together. But I'll always remember what you did for me at the start. I just wish you'd treated me better along the way." Ford's death. John Ford died in 1973. Wayne attended the funeral, standing in the back, paying his respects but keeping his distance from Ford's family. He didn't speak at the service. He didn't give interviews about Ford afterward. When reporters asked Wayne about Ford's death, he was diplomatic. "John Ford was one of the greatest directors who ever lived. Working with him taught me everything I know about film acting. I'm grateful for the opportunities he gave me." But privately, Wayne told friends, "I'm sad he's gone. But I'm also relieved. I don't have to worry anymore about someone pressuring me to work with him again, to pretend everything was fine. I can remember the good parts and let go of the rest." When loyalty becomes self-destruction. John Wayne walking away from John Ford teaches us profound lessons about relationships, abuse, and knowing your worth. 1. Even love has to have limits. Wayne loved Ford like a father. He was grateful for everything Ford had done for his career. But he finally realized that love without respect isn't really love. It's just dependence. And gratitude doesn't require accepting abuse. 2. Tough love is often just abuse. For decades, Wayne told himself that Ford's cruelty was tough love meant to make him better. But eventually Wayne realized, real mentorship builds people up, even when correcting them. Constant humiliation isn't teaching, it's just cruelty. 3. Your past doesn't own your future. Wayne had every reason to stay. 35 years of history, 14 classic films, a father-son bond. But he understood that sunk costs shouldn't trap you in harmful situations. Just because you've invested years doesn't mean you have to invest more. 4. Standing up changes the culture. Wayne's walkout gave other actors permission to demand respect. It challenged Hollywood's acceptance of abusive directors. One person drawing a line can shift entire industries if that person has enough visibility and courage. 5. You can honor what someone gave you while rejecting how they treated you. Wayne never denied Ford's importance to his career. But he also didn't let gratitude trap him in an abusive relationship. You can acknowledge someone's positive impact while refusing to accept their negative behavior. The broader truth. Wayne and Ford's story plays out in countless workplaces, families, and relationships. A talented, powerful person who believes their cruelty is necessary, and a victim who endures it out of love, loyalty, or gratitude. The ending is usually the same. The victim finally reaches a breaking point and leaves. And the abuser often breaks down when confronted with the consequences of their behavior. Modern application. You probably won't face this exact situation, but you might face a mentor who tears you down instead of building you up, a boss who humiliates you to make you better, a relationship where love is used to justify mistreatment, a family member whose past help is used to excuse present abuse. Wayne shows us how to handle these situations. Recognize that gratitude doesn't require accepting abuse. Understand that leaving isn't betrayal, it's self-preservation. Set clear boundaries and follow through when they're crossed. You can honor someone's positive impact without tolerating negative behavior. Walking away doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you value yourself. Your turn. If this story changed how you think about toxic relationships, even with people you love or owe something to, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share this with someone who might need permission to walk away from a relationship that's hurting them. Drop a comment. Have you ever had to walk away from someone who'd done a lot for you but was also hurting you? How did you handle it? What did you learn? Remember, John Wayne walked away from John Ford after 35 years because he finally realized that gratitude doesn't require accepting abuse, that even love needs to have limits, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave a relationship that's destroying you, even if that person gave you everything you have. Ford broke down when he lost Wayne because he'd taken Wayne's loyalty for granted and treated it as permission to be cruel. That's the tragedy of abusive relationships. The abuser rarely changes until they lose what they've been abusing. See you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the hard truths about relationships, boundaries, and the courage it takes to walk away from people and situations that hurt us, even when love and history make it feel impossible.